Now, all this week on Africa 54, we'll be talking about President Barack Obama's trip to Africa later in the week. It's Mr. Obama's fourth trip to Africa, where he will visit his father's homeland of Kenya, attend a global entrepreneurship summit in Nairobi, and meet with regional leaders at the African Union in Ethiopia. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, will travel with the president. She discussed the trip on VOA's Straight Talk Africa program. VOA's Paul Cisco reports.
I stand before you as the President of the United States and a proud American. I also stand before you as the son of a man from Africa.
Building on progress made at the U.S. African Leaders Summit in Washington last summer, President Obama travels to Africa. He'll attend the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Nairobi, Kenya on July 25th and 26th before moving on to Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa.
There are people who feel that perhaps, in fact, the president shouldn't be going to Addis Ababa. Why?
For us, the president's trip to Ethiopia is an important stop. It's an important stop that will convey to the government and people of Ethiopia our commitment to supporting their efforts in fighting terrorism, but also will be an opportunity to use the voice of the president to convey messages to the government of Ethiopia regarding human rights, regarding press freedom, and to ensure that this government continues efforts that will put Ethiopia in the right place when it comes to human rights.
The president will meet with the Ethiopian leadership, visit the headquarters of the African Union, and address its leadership. The African visit comes as a deadly civil war rages on between the forces of South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and opposition leader Riek Machar.
And the solution is peace, and neither one of them have been willing to set aside their own goals to move in that direction.
Let's go to the issue of Burundi, the Burundi crisis.
She also explained the U.S. position on term limits in light of Burundi's President Pierre Nkurunziza's controversial bid for a third term and a similar push in Rwanda for President Paul Kagame.
Consistently, we have stated that we do not support any government that changes its constitution to extend term limits that benefits the president who is in power. And it doesn't matter what country that is.
With this trip, the president reaffirms America's support for the emerging continent and will continue raising good governance issues with his African counterparts.
To the new Africa, the Africa that is rising and so full of promise, and to our shared task to keep on working for the peace and prosperity and justice that all our people seek and that all our people so richly deserve.
Paul Cisco, VOA News, Washington.